Hello guys, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Should I start?
Yes.
All right. Okay guys, good morning everyone. And welcome to Introduction to Systematic Literature Review workshop. In this workshop, it's going to be both theoretical and handouts. So at the end of the workshop, you will be able to write your own paper, I hope. Welcome, Pan. She's my PhD student. She has written 3 systematic literature reviews so far. How are you, Pan? I can.
Hello to you.
Okay. So I hope you will do like Pan and write a systematic literature review. She recently published a systematic literature review in Scopus Journal.
Oh, congratulations.
All right. My name is Dr. Hassan Mahmoud.
Okay.
I am an associate professor at Sunway University. I have been working in UTM previously for 5 years. I have managed to publish a significant amount of publications, mostly systematic literature review in Q1 and Q2 journals. I really hope after this workshop, you will be able to publish a systematic literature review. Here is some examples of my systematic literature review that I managed to publish in Q1 and Q2 journals. This one is published in a Q2 journal and both in Scopus and Web of Science. This one also is published in a Q1 Scopus and Web of Science journal. And this one is published in Q2 Scopus journal. If we take a look at any of these systematic literature review papers, what we will find is that any systematic literature review has a similar component as a research paper. We start with a title, and then abstract, keywords, introduction, and then the most important part of any systematic or review paper, which is the research questions, and then the method. And this is what is unique about any review paper, the methodology part. Because we all familiar with research paper methods, quantitative, qualitative, collecting data, analyzing data, and so on. But in the review paper, it's a bit different because we rely on other people research. So our data is not a questionnaire, not an interview, it's a research paper that we collect and analyze. And for a review paper as well, we follow a systematic way. It's not a random way. So if you would ask me how we do it systematically, we follow a framework. For any review paper, we follow a framework. The most standard framework is called Prisma framework. okay? This is what will get your work organized. I'm sure this is new information for you, but we will get the practical part later on, okay? So the Prisma framework is the based of the methodology part that we follow in any review paper, right? After that, we have the results. This is the Prisma framework, which will illustrates the steps that we follow in any review paper, right? We will get to know that later on. And then we go directly to results, which is 100% related to the research questions. Okay? So as many questions we will have for each research question, we will have a result section to answer this research question. All right? And then we will have the discussion, conclusion, and then the limitation of the paper, if any, and then finally with the references. All right? So let's continue with the theoretical part first, and then we will get to practice after that. All right? So in this session, it has two main parts. The first one is the understanding of SLR or review paper, and then the handouts. So if you ask me, why do we need SLR? Why SLR is important? I would simply say that SLR is like a representative in your field. Imagine yourself as a PhD student and you need a database for research work. The best way to get this database is by writing an SLR paper. So SLR will go through the most important, the most recent publications, and then you will get to know everything about these publications. For example, what theories they have used, what research sample, what research statistical analysis, geographical locations, and so on. So SLR can be applied in all areas, including humanities. The main idea about SLR, when it started at the beginning, it started in the medical field. They used to do SLR paper, for example, for some medication and so on. So they will analyze other publications, and then they will get to know, for example, for the last 50 publications or 100 publications, the effectiveness of this medicine and so on. So they applied this kind of ideas after that in all research areas, including humanities and social science. Okay? The most important part about any review paper in general, not only SLR, is the research questions. Okay? Many of my students ask me, how do we formulate the research questions? And the best answer is that the best way to formulate research question is actually up to you as a researcher. What do you need? What are you looking for? For example, if you are confused about the best theories that is applied in your field, and I'm sure that if you are PhD students, you will look at the best theories. What theory fits my research? Okay? What questionnaire fit my research? What do I need to apply as a methodology in my research? Do I need qualitative or quantitative? All these questions can be answered by systematic literature review. So the way you formulate the research questions, it comes from your need as a researcher, right? Now, as I shown you just now about the publication, the recent publication about systematic literature review, it has the same component as any published material or research paper. It has abstract, introduction, methods, results, discussion, and so on. Okay. The most important part about any review paper, though, is what we call future agenda or recommendations. What do you mean by recommendations or future agenda? And this is the most important part in any review paper. Why? Because when other researchers cite your paper, they will cite this part in particular. So it means that if they are looking for a recommendation or a way to start their research, they will look for the recommendation or the future agenda that you have recommended. All right? Now, in writing the introduction, the best part is what I always recommend my student to do. It's not only for a review paper or a systematic literature review. This is a general information for any piece of research. Okay? You need to divide your introduction into 3 main paragraphs. Okay? Following what we call the reverse triangle approach. The reverse triangle approach, why do we call it reverse triangle approach? Because we start in any introduction with a general idea about your research. Okay, so that's why it's reversed. We start with the global, for example, if you are looking or talking about online learning platforms, you will start with talking about this issue globally. And then the second paragraph, you will start to talk about this issue in your country. All right. And then the third paragraph, it will be more about the contribution of this study. What this study will contribute about this issue that you have mentioned globally and in your country. So the introduction will not be more than 1,000 words, 3 paragraphs, okay? All right, this is an example of the introduction. And then the research questions, which is the most important part of any review paper, because if you change any of these research questions, the whole review paper will change, okay? So review papers, always remember that it's a relationship between keywords. If you change these keywords, the data that you will have will change accordingly. So you need to be very specific when you change the keywords that you need to write your paper based on. We will get to that later on when we start the practical part, okay? The methodology, as I mentioned, which is the unique part about any review paper, because it's not quantitative nor qualitative, it's actually a standard methodology about review paper, which we call Prisma framework. Now, Prisma framework will give you a guidelines step by step how to do this review. Okay? For example, the first phase of the Prisma framework, what we call identification, you will identify the sources of your research. For example, if you want to use Scopus database, so the identification will be Scopus database and in what day, the specific date about your research when you started the search. And then you will identify the main keywords that you used to start your research. And then you will start to list down all the criteria of your research, which we will start in the practical part later on. Okay, so step number one is the identification. It's more about the database source and then the keywords, which are the variables of the research. The screening, it's more about the inclusion and exclusion criteria. In a simple word, what we will include and what we will exclude in our research. For example, I want to include articles from 2010 to 2023 or 2015 to 2023. Okay, I want to include only English written publications and so on. Okay, for eligibility, after we download the articles that we are going to analyze, we will look into some deeper assessment stages. What we call is quality assessment, by reading the articles that we finalize to include in our research. All right. And then the selection, which will be the final stage after you or before you start analyzing these articles. All right. So now let's start our review by first logging into Scopus database. Scopus database, it's not free. So you need your university account to log in. If you see here, this is brought to you by University Technology in Malaysia because I have an account. If I don't have an account, I will not be able to get this page. See? Now, from this page, you will start your work by exploring or browsing for the articles that you need to analyze. Now we have different categories here, starting with documents, authors, research discovery, organizations. What we need here is documents because obviously we are looking for documents in a specific area or keywords, all right? Also, we have search within. If you click here, you will see you will have first all fields, article, title, abstract, keywords, and then a bunch of different choices. What do we need here is article, title, abstract, and keywords. What do we mean here is that when I type the keywords later on, if these keywords exist in the title, the abstract, the keywords, then include these article in the results. All right. Now, here we have the search documents where we start our search by typing the keywords. Now, I want you to understand that the keywords are the most important step in any review paper, because as I mentioned earlier, if we change any keywords, the results will change accordingly, okay? So let's, for example, write online learning, all right? And then hit search. What I have written is only one keyword, which is online learning. I got 219,489, which is a huge amount of articles in this field. Why? Because I only choose to select one keyword, okay? So number one is make sure the keyword that you use is trendy and it's research worthy. Number two, never search for one keyword only because you will get a lot of articles. So what you are going to look about is a relationship. Okay, so always make sure the keywords that you look for has somehow relationship with each other. Okay, so for example, we have online learning and, for example, students satisfaction. Okay, now we have a relationship between online learning and student satisfaction. And if we hit search now, we will see how the number of articles decreased from almost 200,000 to 6,000 documents. Okay, which is a reasonable number of publications because we have a relationship now. Now, after you hit search, always remember to save your search before you apply any criteria. You hit save search because you need to return to it later on. All right. So obviously you need to sign in first.
It's the second question.
I don't know why it's taking so long. Okay, never mind. So you make sure to save search. It's taken too long for me to sign in. All right. Now the second step is to refine your search. Okay, because 6,000 articles is a quite big number for your articles. Okay. We start with applying filters, which we mean by inclusion and exclusion criteria that we want to include in our research. Okay. The first criteria that we want to apply is the range of years of the publications. Okay. Now, if you are looking for something trendy about online learning, for example, which is something that has increased after 2019, we would prefer to make the period of publication not less than 5 years. Okay. So for example, we are in 2024, but 2024 is not over yet. We cannot include the current year. Okay. So we will make it, for example, from 2018 to 2023. We can include 2024 only if 2024 is over. Okay, because more research will be included in this year. So this is the first filter we want to apply. And then we hit, all right. Okay. Now you will start, if you activate advanced query, you will notice that any filter that you apply here, it will be included in the query, which is very important. The query here is the methodology that you want to elaborate later on. Okay, so the query, whatever you do, it will be recorded in the query here. So you want to make sure, for example, title apps key, which means the keywords are online learning and student satisfaction, and publication year more than 2017 and less than 2024, which means 2018 to 2023. Okay, this is the first filter that we have applied. And then you have subject area. If you go to show all, you will have a bunch of subject areas in your research. But if you are to be more specific, for example, you choose one or two subject areas: social science, arts, and humanities. And then you will hit limit 2. Okay? You will notice the subject area has been added to the query as well. Okay? So whatever criteria you apply, it will be recorded in this query. Also, the documents number has decreased, okay, because we have chosen specific criteria, right? Now, we have document type. For review paper, I always prefer to choose article only. So I will exclude conference paper, book chapter, review. Why? Because I don't want to, have a hard time finding this articles that I want to review. So the most or the easier to find articles. Okay, and then we have language. We hit English only, and then limit 2. If you go back to the query, you will notice that it's subject area arts, art and humanity, and then language, we have English only. And then we have something that is been recently added to Scopus, which is the keyword. If you hit show all, this will get you the chance to have more specific keywords. For example, now we have around 1,600 articles, but mostly some of these articles will be way from our research area. To make sure or to guarantee that these articles are in line with our research, we select a bunch of keywords. We filter it by these keywords. So online learning has only 375 articles. Okay? For example, COVID-19 is not one of the keywords that we use, but it has 271 articles. So we exclude that. So we go with online learning, maybe e-learning, we include e-learning, and then satisfaction, and then student satisfaction also, online education, and then that's that, limit 2. All right. Now we have out of 6,600 articles, we have 838. All right. After we include these criteria. Now, this is about the criteria that we want to apply. So what I usually do is copy this query, go to Microsoft Word, and then start to draft your work. This is the first step you do. Right? And then just paste the query. That's number 1. Number 2, you are going to need the date, and then Scopus database, and then initial search that you have started or you get when you have written the keywords only without any filters. It was 6,651, if I'm not mistaken. And then the final search. What do you mean by final search is after we applied all the filters here, which is 838. All right. Now, this information is very important because it's going to help you out when you write the methodology part. All right. This is the information that we need for now. Now, the next step that we are going to do is writing the research question, or not the final version of research questions, at least the draft of them, so that you will get to know how to answer these questions. Okay. For example, if you start with because this one is going to be both bibliometric and systematic literature review. You start with the distribution, yearly distribution. Okay, so what is the yearly distribution of the articles in the field of online learning and students' satisfaction? That will be the first research questions. How to answer that? We have what we call features from Scopus that will help us analyze these results. So now we have 838 document. If we hit here on the right, analyze results, you will find that Scopus will provide a bunch of analysis for you, starting with documents by year, document by source, by authors, document by affiliation, country, and so on. What we need here is documents by years to answer the first question. How to get this information or this information about these years? I go to export and then make sure to export the data to a CSV file and then export. All right. Now I will get this file in my downloads as Scopus analyze year. Okay. How to insert this in my file? I simply go to insert, chart, and then I choose whatever chart that suits my research. And then I click, for example, line. Once I click to any of these charts, an Excel sheet will open up automatically. Once it's open, I need to get this data into this file. All right. How? I go to the file that I downloaded just now, open it, and these are the information that I have. So the distribution by years, I just copy and then paste. And then close. And this is the information that I have just inserted right now. Okay. The yearly distribution. Okay. So it's an active figure, not simply screenshot from Scopus. You cannot do that because later on when you want to elaborate the figure, you need this information. For example, in 2023, we have 237 publications. In 2022, we have 237. 2021, we have 183. All this information we are going to write down when we start elaborating the data, okay? So for example, here, you will see, you will write that in this, or the first research question will answer the will illustrates the yearly distribution of the articles in the field of online learning and satisfaction for the last 5 years, as shown in figure 1. Okay. Now this is figure 1. Yearly distribution. Okay. Now how to elaborate this figure is by first we mention the most highest values and the less two highest values. For example, if we go here into one of the articles, I think this one. Okay. You see, this is exactly same. The distribution of publication between 22 to 2020. Okay. So what we have mentioned is that in the papers were primarily published in previous couple of years. In year 2021, a total number of 168 publications. And then in year 2020 and 2019, the same number of publications. And then we go on to elaborate all the values if there are only 5 values. Okay. Are you guys following? Any questions so far?
Yeah.
Okay.
Doctor, I have one question.
Yeah.
And when we search the articles, we narrow down to about 800, right? So my question is, when we search one journal and something like scopes, how many articles is the best? Is with limitation for the articles, how many articles is the best?
There is actually no limitation for the articles. It's totally up to you, but we are going to apply a lot of criteria later on. So 800 is not the final amount articles that we want to include. This is only for the bibliometric analysis part. For the systematic literature review, we will start to download. When we download, we will lose half of these articles at least. So let's say we downloaded 300 out of these 800. Then we will apply what we call quality assessment. So this quality assessment also will exclude a bunch of articles. So finally, the final stage for the systematic literature review is going to be around not less than 25 or 30 articles. If you go more, you can, but the article will be very long. So the standard based on my publications, for example, this paper has, if I'm not mistaken, it has 30 papers. This one, let me download the PDF. You see, this is the final number of articles. This one, 24 articles. Different one would be 25, 30. So there's no limitation for the articles. As long as you have enough and the paper is will not exceed the limitation, because some journals will ask you to not exceed 10,000 words, for example, or 15,000 words. Okay, so it's totally up to you.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Yes, welcome. Okay, this is the first analysis that we can get, and then we apply the same using Scopus database, because this is actually needs a lot of time, so I'm going to skip. Not everything is going to be discussed. The second one, which is that I need to discuss with you, is this table. The authors table. Okay, so let's say the second question will be, what the top 10 authors in the field of online learning and satisfaction, because this one is, it needs some kind of skills. Okay, the top 10 authors in the field of online learning and satisfaction, how we fill this table is first by creating the table. Okay, for example, this one is for the number and this one is for authors. After that, we have TP, total publication, EC, total citation, and then we have H-index, and then we have the most cited article, and then how many times cited. Okay, I'm going to fill two with you, and then you can do the rest. How to fill this table is going to back to Scopus. First, you need to open the author name in a new tab. Okay, you will get the information of the authors. First, the name of the author. All right. Now, the second one is TP, which means TP equal to total publication. EC, total citation. Okay. I don't know why it's taken time to open the page. Let's go to the second author also. Open a new page. Yeah. Now this is the second author. Just copy the name. Total publication is the documents that this author has. So we just copy this number. Total citation is 1,410. The H-index is 18. And then we have the most cited article in this specific area, which is online learning and student satisfaction. Okay, how can we get this information is going back to this table. We see here numbers, you see, 6, 4, 4, 4, and so on. These are the numbers of publications for this author only for online learning and student satisfaction area. Okay, so we open this number in a new tab. You see 4 documents found. These 4 documents is for online learning and student satisfaction. Okay, so what do we need to do is we need to sort these articles based on citation. So we click sort by cited by highest, and then this is the most cited article for this author. So we just copy the title of the article, copy it, and then how many times cited is under citation is 126. 126. Okay. Now we need to apply this for the top 10 authors. All right. This is the first author, which is total citation, total publication. All right. And H index is 9. All right. Once again, to get the most cited article, we go here. You see the number 6, new tab, and then you will get these 6 documents. And then we sort by highest citation. Scopus is misbehaving today. Okay. Anyway, when you get the results, you will copy and paste the title of the article and how many times cited, because we don't have actually time. Yeah, it's here. This is the title. And time of citation was 16. Okay. All right. Now these are example of the research questions for bibliometric analysis. Now let's go and write a research questions for the SLR now. For example, you want to know what are the most used theories in the field of online learning and student satisfaction. And also you want to know what are the most used methods. Okay. What are the most used samples? And so on. How do we get answers for these kind of research questions? Is by the systematic literature review. It's not provided by Scopus now. Okay. So what we need to do is that we go back to Scopus for the main page, which has 838. What we need to do now, we need to download these articles. Okay, so I go to download. Oh, I need to use Google Classroom. I use Chrome. Even if I change the browser, as long as I have the query with me, I don't have to redo everything. Because I have the Scopus query, I can just copy and paste the query and I will get the same results. All right. Okay. I want to see if I have this search in my search history, because sometimes it will be saved in search history. But Scopus today is very slow. Yeah, it's not saving. Okay, online learning. I can edit in advanced search and just copy paste the query that I have created previously. If I had to change, because Safari browser does not allow to download articles. Okay. Okay, while Scope has taken the time to open, let's now write the method part, because we don't have enough time, based on Prisma framework. So Prisma framework, as I mentioned, it's a template that has been used for systematic review. What you need to do is go to Prisma template. You can find it on the internet for free. You can just go and download as Microsoft Word file. As you can see, you can just open it and then modify this framework for your research. All right. We can see now we have identification, screening, and inclusion and exclusion criteria. The first information that we need is the records identification from. Where did you get your the source of the articles? Scopus. Okay. Okay. The initial search was 6,610, and then the final amount was 800 plus. Okay, so you need to write why you have excluded this amount of articles. So records removed before screening because exclusion and inclusion criteria. So the number that you have right now after the exclusion and inclusion criteria is 800, for example. Now, these 800, you will download, okay? You will try to download from Scopus. Okay, let's try and open the query again and see if this is actually going to work. All right, search. Yeah, you see, we changed the browser, but it still worked. Now, these are the 838 documents we are going to download. Scopus gives you the ability to download in packages, okay? For each download, you can download 50 articles at once, but you need to remember the numbers, okay? So the results from 1 to 50, for example, and then you hit download. You will notice it will start downloading in the background in your downloads. Once you get the first 50, you will go for the second 50 and the third, fourth, and until you finish to number 838. During the download process, you will lose more than half of these articles. That's why we tend to have a big number, okay? Like 800, 500, 600, okay? Now this is the download. You can see here, it's downloading, okay? Now you are going to save these numbers. For each time, you will have maybe 30 or 32, you see? 32 out of 50 documents have successfully downloaded. It's here in my download. These are the articles. If I open them, they are fully accessed, okay? And then I will go to the second 50, from 51 to 100, and then download. I will keep on doing that until I download the whole amount here. Okay, now this number that I get, for example, let's say I get only 250 out of this number, 838. Okay, so everything needs to be recorded in Prisma 838. Okay, let's say that I have only downloaded 250. So record excluded will be (838). Excluded will be 588. Okay. So the final number that I have downloaded is 250 articles. Okay. From these 250 articles, I will choose now, or I will apply the quality assessment. How do we do the quality assessment is by going through these articles one by one. I will open these 250 one by one. I will read the article, abstract, and keywords. Okay? And I will make sure that this article is 100% aligned with my research. If it's aligned, I will include it. If not, I will exclude it. So let's say after the quality assessment, I excluded 150 articles. I will exclude 150. I will have to justify why I excluded these articles. You see here, reported, excluded. We have reason one, not relevant, for example. The language is different, even though we choose only English language articles, but sometimes Scopus will identify abstract. If the abstract only in English, it will be included. So we sort all the information or the reasons why do we exclude these kind of articles, okay? At the end, you will have only 50 articles, okay, to be included in this review. Is Prisma framework clear? Any questions? Okay, good. After we are done with the figure, the Prisma, now we need to explain about this in the methodology part. For example, here, this is an example of how to explain Prisma framework, okay? First, we start with by saying that Prisma framework was chosen for this study according to Muhir, ATL 2008. Okay, so we need to refer to the person who created Prisma. And then part number one of the materials and methods or methodology, we talk about the exclusion and inclusion criteria. Okay, this is all from the query also, Scopus query. Okay, so we sort all the inclusion criteria. We have included, for example, from 2018 to 2023, only articles written in English. Okay, only articles including TDT or whatever variables that you have. The exclusion criteria, anything that is not related, anything that has book chapters, thesis, blogs, and so on, any other languages than English, publication before 2018 and after 2023, which is 2024. Why? Because it's not yet completed, okay? And then we have to explain about the data sources and search strategies. You see why we written the date that we have conducted this research, because you need to write down the date when you conducted this research, and then you will start by writing the period, okay? And then whatever claim or whatever information that you provided, you will have to prove it by query, the Scopus query. For example, here, I said the papers identified in the database from 2001 to 2021. 222 has been omitted since it's not yet completed. So this is the phrase from Scopus. Okay. And then these keywords were used. Okay, this is the proof that I have used these keywords. Okay, and then you will start to identify the articles that you have included. 100, for example, the initial search, and then after you apply the criteria, and then after you download it, and then after you applied the quality assessment. So you have 4 different numbers of articles. Okay, and everything is written here in the Prisma framework. So once I see the figure, I will understand all the explanation from the elaboration above. All right, are you clear with the Prisma framework? Any questions?
Doctor, I have one question.
Yeah.
Yes, can we search from two journal, some like from Scopes and WOS, those two books?
Yes, you can do more than one database, and then the only difference is that you need to mention that in Prisma framework. Okay.
Okay, if we compare to database, is work. It will be work. I mean, the same article appear to different database. It will be have different data. Maybe so if we compare this to database, it's okay or not?
Okay, you need to compare it first and then remove any duplicate articles. But you need to mention that these articles were removed because they were duplicate from Scopus and database and Web of Science database.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Thank you, doctor.
So in other words, everything you do, you actually explain in Prisma framework. Everything, all the steps. You can choose more than 3 database: Google Scholar, Web of Science, Scopus. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. All right. Now let's go back to our document, and we have now. Let's say we have different questions than bibliometric analysis. We have the questions that are specific for the systematic literature review, which is SLR. Now, we don't have a shortcut as we had in bibliometric analysis. We need to do that manually. How? By the articles that we had at the final, after the quality assessment. So let's say we have 50 articles. Now we excluded everything. Now these 50 are 100% aligned with our work. All right? So in this step, what we do is actually we create this table. This table is the most important part of any review paper. Okay. This table is the analysis of these 50 articles that we have came out with. Okay. See, for example, we have the first one is label. I use label to make it easier for me to access the articles. And then the reference, this column is for references. And this one for theories, which means research question number 1 for systematic literature review. This one, TDT factors, research question number 2. And then third for sample, research tool, approach, analysis, location. If we go back to the research questions, you see, these are the research questions for this systematic literature review. What theories do the preceding studies employ? What variables were examined? What kind of samples? What research methods? Where geographically were the studies conducted? So each one of these research questions will have a column in this table, which is the appendix. Okay? So let's say for the first research question, which is what theories were used, what I do is I go one by one for the articles. I will search for the theories that have been used in this article. If it's the same theory, then I'll just write it down. Now, this article is actually written specifically for this theory, TDT theory. But it comes to our mind that it has different theories as well as a combination, okay? So we need to fill this based on all these articles, the 50 articles. And then we apply the same for each of the research questions. So the second will be about the variables. Third will be the sample and so on. So the sample in the first article were student. Second article were lecturers, and so on. When we are done with this table, we are done with our review, literally. Okay, so this is the, let's say, the most important and the most critical part of any review papers. Once you have this table done, all you need to do is write the results based on this table. So let's, for example, see the first one, results here. Okay, this is the results section. The first question about the theory, okay? So I will mention that a total of 29 articles out of 42, which is the final number that I have analyzed, okay, used TDT, which is the main idea of this paper, okay? And then I will start to, talk about other theories that were used. Everything that I claim, I need to refer to the authors, right? The second research question will be about the factors or the variables, okay? All or any variables that I claim or mention, I need to mention their author, okay? So I will write all the results section. These are the samples, and then the technique and data analysis, okay? And where applicable, I would recommend that you use a figure or a table to present your data instead of just writing, okay? For example, here, the geographical locations, you can write or you can draw a map. Okay, these are the top 10 or top 3 geographical locations that use TDT and distance learning publications, okay? And then you will end out with the future agenda based on the analysis that you have. And then after you are done with the results, you see all the results are based on the table. So once you are done with the table, everything else will be just easier for you to fill in. All right, now the final stage is the discussion part. What is the difference between results and discussion? Anyone? Any idea?
You add your own interpretations?
Yes, obviously. Excellent. So the results, you just mention whatever data you have. You don't add any justification or elaboration on that. While on the discussion, you need to elaborate based on your arguments, academic writing from previous research. You need to compare the current results with previous researchers, okay? And then make it like an argument. Would you agree and would you not, and why? So it's all about justification, all right? So you would repeat the discussion for all the sections as well. The research question number 1, the theory, variables, and so on, until you reach the final and most important part of the any review paper, which is the future direction, research gap, and recommendation. Why it's important? Because this is where you get citation for your work, right? When I started writing systematic literature review, I guess 3 years back, my citation in Google Scholar was 100 citation. Now I have 1,273. This is one of the advantages of systematic literature review, because other people will tend to cite your work with systematic literature review. All right? Now, this is all about, this is actually a very summary handout about systematic literature review. Let's now open for Q&A. Also, you can ask Pan. She has written 3 papers, again.
Already published a lot of papers and yeah.
She is my PhD student, and she has written, where's your paper, Pan? Let me see. She has actually published a recent paper in Q2 Scopus.
Wow.
Yes. Where is it?
You from UTM?
Yeah. Yes. She was my PhD student when I was in UTM.
Okay.
I don't know if it's added to Google, Pan, but never mind. It's in contemporary education technology. Yes. You see, this is the way that we just discussed right now. The research questions, which countries, institution, keywords, and so on. And then we have the table. Where's the table, Ban?
Table is not here.
It's not there. But obviously she did the table, but because the journal has limitation with the word, so she removed it. And then this is the methodology where we use Prisma framework. And this is the table for inclusion and exclusion criteria, the research design, the source of data, okay, the data collection, and then the quality assessment. So 57 at the end were included in this research. And you see the first number was 656.
Okay.
Very similar to our research. She did include, after she removed the inclusion criteria, she had 349, and then 123 after download, and then she removed 36 not related, and then not related to flipped classroom 30. So the final number was 57 articles. All right. And then in the results, we start to write as just the way that we did just now, starting with the countries, year distribution, institutions, top authors. I'm not sure if we have top authors. This is the keywords, right? Main research area, research tools. These are the elements from the table. Okay, and then the discussion, and finally with the conclusion of the research. So I really hope that all of you guys can write your own systematic literature review after this handout. If you do have any questions, you can reach me out through my email, or you can reach Pam. She is my assistant.
And is trained by Dr. Hassan.
Okay, guys, any questions?
I think no.
I really hope we did benefit you in one way or another. And I wish you all the best, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, Dr. Hassan.
Thank you, Dr. Khalib. Bye bye, guys.
Bye.